Slicky.
Mitchy.
Yeah, a little
Mitchy.
a little bonus.
This is not when we usually record. This is not.
No.
According to my brand new Jeopardy calendar, this is a Sunday.
Yeah.
Seahawks Sunday.
It is.
According to my Jeopardy calendar.
Do you have a question on your Jeopardy calendar?
I do.
Would you like to see what kind of vast non-sports knowledge Mitchy the Kid had?
Okay, this is very Stump the Band.
Okay.
All right.
All right. What's the category?
Almost President Trivia.
Yeah, not going to happen. But
You're going to get this. You're going to get this.
You know who would get this is Max Levy would probably get this.
But if you think about it, you'll get it.
All right.
Because he held this job in 1973, Carl Albert would have been president had Nixon resigned before a new Veep was confirmed.
Speaker of the House.
Exactly right.
Yes.
See? You just had to think about it. Except you have to phrase in the form of a question, so I'm sorry you lose. Because it's a Jeopardy calendar, not a Stump the Band calendar.
Sorry for that. I'll accept the loss. Now listen, this is you didn't change the chair. I asked you last week to change the chair.
I know, and I'm going to change the chair.
You're already creaking at me, for God's sake.
I have plans. I have plans to move the operation upstairs.
Oh.
Yeah. And it'll be for these when we do these YouTubes.
Yeah,
it'll be better ambiance. It'll look better.
No,
the background.
You look fine.
I know, but the background will be will be more suitable, I think, for what we do. Yeah, it's got to be better than either of the. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's not. I'm not ticklish. There's no need for that. Nobody wants that.
So, I feel like I need to explain what we're doing here. In between the creaking of the chair, I feel like before we start the show, I should explain. So we normally do on Monday shows. I think most people know that. Most Mitch Unfiltered people know that we typically release a show on Monday. But we took New Year's weekend off. So there's no regular, like episode 173, which would have come out on Monday. You combine the fact that it was New Year's and the Seahawks had been eliminated already from the playoffs, and we figured, all right, let's take the weekend off and celebrate New Year's with our family. So there's no 173, which brings up a couple of complications.
Okay.
Number one is the Seahawks finally won a game on Sunday, and I'd like to talk about a win. And you're wearing a number 12 jersey.
That's right, I am. It's game day.
The second complication is we've got this Beat the Boys competition, and next week is the final week of the season. It's the final chance for people to catch. When I say beat the boys, I mean really beat the boy, and it's you. beat Slickhawk. So I feel like I needed a platform to actually give the games and give the passcode. That's number two. And number three is, and I'll be honest, we started a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago, we started the Mitch Unfiltered YouTube channel. And
right. I heard about that.
And people who have gone on there and enjoyed the videos of our podcast, little segments and interviews and so forth, they seem to like it a lot. The only problem is nobody really goes on there to enjoy it. So I figured this might be a way that I could get people to come to the YouTube channel, enjoy this, get the Beat the Boys games, get the passcode, get the lowdown on the Seahawks, and maybe subscribe. They say I'm supposed to tell them to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And down here, I guess, somewhere down there, I think you may have to do it. Down there, there's a like button. Have you ever?
Right there.
Right there? Right there.
It's that. There it is.
Have you ever liked a YouTube video in your life?
You know what? I've put up a couple YouTube videos.
Oh, you have?
And I think those are the ones that I actually liked. I hit the like button. I don't think I've really done it on any others. I'll do it on this one.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
yeah, absolutely. So because I'm on it. So I gotta like that.
If you're watching Mitch and Slick right now, even if you've never doesn't cost anything. I think all you have to do is click a button that says subscribe.
Well, it costs you effort. That's a lot of
no, it's not wrong. Not a lot of work. So that's the reason why we're doing this. This is the first ever YouTube exclusive. This is a YouTube exclusive with Slick and Mitch. We're going to shoot the shit for, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We'll talk about the Seahawks. We'll talk about how your New Year's went. And then we'll give the games. We'll give the code word. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, is that okay?
Good.
All right.
That works for me.
All right. Now, before we start the show, I have something to say. I just spoke to Mr. Playoffs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he around? Is he?
He's on
he's on a beach somewhere.
He's on a beach in Tahiti, but he wanted me to pass along a message to you and everybody listening or watching on the YouTube Mitch Unfiltered channel. It goes like this. If the season began today, which it doesn't, and it's stupid to even talk about, sorry you. Although you may like the began today instead of if it ended.
Yeah.
If the season began today, the Seahawks would be 1-0 with a win over an NFC team with a wide margin and be the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs.
What's that do for you? I never looked at it that way. Wow. Talk about glass half full. Yeah. What a win. What a game. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. As the game was going along, I'm like, why are we playing this game?
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah. It's been so long since we were just playing out the string at the end. It was just kind of a hollow, empty feeling. DK Metcalf, you know how much of a DK Metcalf nut I am. He scores 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
Rashad Penny's going off, and I'm just like,
yes.
But which sucks for me because I don't want to feel that way.
You realize that there are people in a lot of NFL cities who experience this every single year, right? What we're complaining about?
Yes, because we used to be one of them.
That's a long time ago. I mean,
so
people in my hometown, Slick, we've been eliminated now as of this Sunday. People in my hometown, lifelong Dolphins. When was the last time the Dolphins were celebrating a race to the postseason? For God's sake.
Oh man. Boy, it's been a while.
Well, no, they've actually been in, but
I can't remember. No, I just remember a lot of futility.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. No. Man, they put together a nice run for it this year.
Yeah,
I was impressed.
Came up short.
Nice.
Listen, 51-29. Have you ever heard of another 51-29 game?
Not that I've heard of. No. Is that a scoregami or did it happen?
So you know about that?
The scoregami?
See, why am I the last person to know the
This is the thing. This is a Pete Carroll. There have been, I think, at least one scoregami every year since Pete Carroll's been here or something like that.
What is score? Where'd you get scoregami? Where'd you get that?
That's what they call it. A score that's never happened in the NFL.
Okay.
It's a scoregami.
I'll have you know that Sunday's 51-29 victory over the not-so-good Detroit Lions was not a scoregama. Origami.
Scoregami.
On November the 24th, 2008, Slickhawk, the New Orleans Saints defeated the Green Bay Packers 51-29. Drew Brees threw for 323 yards, 4 touchdowns. Pierre Thomas had 87 yards rushing to outduel Ryan Grant, Aaron Rodgers, and the rest of the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not making that up. It's actually true. So,
I believe it. Yeah.
There you go. So it's
Did Marcus Colston have a big day? Was it a big Joe Horn performance?
Joe Horn took a phone out of the
right out of the goalpost.
All right. Do you want to start our discussion of the Seahawks on Wilson, Penny, or DK? I'll give you, or we can.
I think Penny.
Or we could spin the
Penny.
wheel. All right, Penny.
Yeah, let's go Rashad Penny.
Penny, 25 carries, 175 yards, and the late season Penny surge continues. Your thoughts? Should the Seahawks go out and give him a multi-gazillion-dollar contract with lots of guaranteed money and bring him back as the number 1 running back of the Seattle Seahawks?
Oh, hell no. No, they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do that, but they should try to bring him back as cheaply as possible. And I think that, look, Chris Carson's probably done.
I hope
maybe
not.
look to the draft for another solution or something like that. Have kind of a running back by committee thing. But I think that if you're able to keep some of the mileage off of Penny, yeah, I think he has value. Certainly to a team that's rebuilding. You're trying to save dollars and things like that. He's not going to be necessarily a permanent solution, but he can be a bridge, and he can perform well, and as long as he's healthy. As long as he's healthy, he's a good running back. And I've always felt that way. Always felt that. I'm like the last guy on Penny Island I've been until these last 4 weeks. So I'm actually proud that he's been able to show kind of what he can do for a quarter of the season.
He's got to be the leading running back in the NFL the last 4 weeks, doesn't he? Or right there. How many running backs have more yards than Rashaad Penny in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the NFL season?
Yeah, it can't be many. It can't be many.
No. So I never liked Rashad Penny. I never liked CJ Procise. I thought that they were the same person. I will say that my opinion on Penny, the running back, has changed subtly, is what I would say. I think what he has shown over the last 4 or 5 weeks is he's a much more capable running back than I would have thought. I didn't think much of him from a productivity standpoint. But I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't know, maybe there's going to be one. All it takes is one team to come in and give him a lot of money, figures that they're a running back away and sees him and he's not getting a lot of contract offers, and they give him some guarantee or whatever. I'm just saying there is no way, and you can hold me to this, there is no way that guy will ever be durable. And you might tell me, oh, what about the last 4 or 5 weeks? I mean, even if I don't know if you watched it, it was really interesting to me. On Sunday, he made one of his many great runs. It was in the first half, and they showed him go to the sideline, and he was standing next to Adrian Peterson. And Peterson was trying to like, hey, good going. It was a good run. But he couldn't even really, at that point, even celebrate his run. He had this grimace on his face like he was hurt. Like, oh, my God. And it looked like, and they kept the camera on him for either the entire time in between plays or they kept coming back to it. And he just looked like, oh, my God, he looked like he was this close to going to the locker room at that point. Like he was having trouble gaining his wind back to even go back on the field. I know he's been great. I give him all the credit in the world for what he's done the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's obviously a better running back, as you say, when healthy than Mitch Levy ever thought. But there is no way. I emphasize no. Now, any team that wants to bring him in as kind of a change of pace guy, a once every 3 possession guy, a guy to be the yin or the yang to somebody else, I got no problem with that. I'm just telling you, the team that lines up to bring him in as their featured back, it is not going to work. The guy will be hurt.
Right.
So he may not even make it to opening day. He'll be hurt in the preseason before opening day. That's what
it's so tough. I mean, a guy that when he came out, I watched a lot of Rashad Penny, San Diego State footage, a lot. And I saw a guy when he runs, at least when he ran back then, that reminded me so much of Sean Alexander. His running style, his subtle moves, the way he stayed under his pads and everything, and the subtle quickness that Alexander had. You didn't know he was moving, and then all of a sudden he covers 30 yards like that. I saw a lot of that in Rashad Penny, and I just 2-3 years ago, right before he tore his ACL, I mean, he was humming. The offense was humming. It's the best the offense is probably ever looked, as with he and Carson were going. But that's how you have to do it too. A 1A, 1B kind of thing. I don't think, like you said, he's not going to be a lead back. You've got to keep the mileage off of him and plan on him missing a few games a year. That's probably your best case scenario with Penny. But look, it's the NFL. You don't get running backs to play 16, 17 weeks typically anymore. It's just, you're going to have injuries like that. So many backfields are running back by committee anyway. It's okay. You can have a guy like Penny, super talented, and get 9-10 weeks out of him and use him sparingly and this and that. Sometimes you have good games out of him.
You don't think he's going to be back with Seattle next year, do you?
Oh, he might be. I mean, why not?
Because I think somebody will give him a little more than you should give him, and the Seattle Seahawks will not be that team.
I don't know that they will. I don't know that somebody's gonna.
One team.
I don't know that.
Hold on. The guy's the leading rusher in the league. Well, we think he is, the leading rusher in the league the last 5 weeks of the season. Some team is going to give him more than like the minimum veteran contract, whatever that is.
I mean, I think they're going to look at, well, I think Seattle's got to give him a little bit more than the veteran minimum too. They'll give him, a little bit. I just think they're going to look at the entire body of work over 4 years and look at a guy that, are we going to invest serious dollars in this guy?
Put your hand out.
I don't think the team's going to do
Put your hand
that.
out. $1 wager.
All right.
$1 wager. You say he's here. I say he's not here. Let's move to your buddy DK Metcalf. Ooh. Every time he scores, you do what on Twitter? Every time he scores.
DeKalen Zacharias Metcalf.
You love yourself some DK Metcalf.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
He is eligible. Now, he's got 12 touchdowns, and we all know the attitude sometimes isn't great, and he's been frustrated this year. He wants the ball more often, and most of us think he should get the ball more often. At the end of this year, which will be 1 week from today, he will be eligible for, he'll have what? 1 year left on his contract, and he'll be eligible for a new contract, right? A new contract extension.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this right now, and I tweeted this out. Amari Cooper of the Dallas Cowboys. Good receiver?
Yes.
Yeah. Is he DK Metcalf? Who would you rather have right now, Amari Cooper or DK Metcalf?
DK Metcalf. Amari Cooper disappears. He's the second best receiver on his team.
Come on. Right. It's not even close, right?
DK. It's
DK. It's not even close.
He's a god.
Amari Cooper
he's Adonis.
Is on a 5-year, $100 million contract. Now, if you are the brand new, there's a new agent now, CAA, there's a new agent for DK Metcalf. You are calling on Monday, right after the Cardinals game, Monday morning, you're calling John Schneider and saying, all I'm going to say, John, to start things off is Amari Cooper, who couldn't hold my client's jockstrap, is on a 5-year, $100 million contract. John may drop the phone at that particular point, but aren't you? Am I not right? I mean, give me two, as much as controversial as he is and as polarizing sometimes as he is, given his age and his productivity and his size and his speed and the long-term outlook at him, give me 3 other wide receivers that you would rather sign at their age than DK Metcalf right now.
I mean, he's obviously top of the list.
Top of the list.
I mean,
you got to give him 5
I know how they use Cooper Kupp, but I would rather have DK Metcalf than Cooper Kupp.
There you go.
And Cooper Kupp, he's had the best season of anybody this year. Devontae Adams is better. Stephon Diggs is better. But they're both older too. Maybe not Diggs so much, but Adams is. DK Metcalf, he's barely scratching the surface of his prime.
You got to give him 5 years, minimum 5 years, $100 million.
And here's the thing: DK Metcalf is the wide receiver I've always dreamed about, and that we've never
had a guy like
ever had. But it's so tough. It's so tough because of what you have tied into Lockett, because of where this franchise is now. Are you really in a place where you're handing out $22 million a year to a wide receiver? I don't know. That's John's call. And I'm glad it's his call and not my call, because I love having DK Metcalf on his team more than just about anything. But I don't know that it's responsible right now to sign that contract.
Well, the other thing you could do is play out the year. Maybe he holds out. Maybe he doesn't. He probably comes in to play the year because he doesn't want to lose a year's worth of salary. And you could go year to year with the franchise tag if you really want to go down that route. I think at that point you're probably spending upwards of 20 plus million a year on 1-year contracts. So if you're going to do a series of 1-year contracts on the franchise tag, I guess you might as well sign him to a big contract, and that way you can prorate some of the money and bring down a salary cap number. I don't know.
Look, if you're telling me, so, when you restructure a deal like this, you add on phony numbers at the end, you manipulate the first year or two of the deal. In the NFL, if you've got a quarterback, you're always and a smart front office, you can be no more than 2 years away from a rebuild. So if you're telling me that either Russell Wilson or a quarterback that they acquire is going to be here that you can do this rebuild around, and in 2 years, you're going to be in position where you can strike again, and DK Metcalf could be a part of that, then sure. Then I'm all in. I'm all in on giving DK Metcalf that money. I don't know that they're going to be in that place in 2 years. God, I hope so. That would be great. I don't know.
But you got to do it now.
Well, yeah, you kind of do. You do have to do it now.
So do it now.
I mean, if I'm Hugh Millen's 50-50 and the feather's coming down and which side of the scale of justice to the feather call, my feather is on pay DK Metcalf. I guess it has to be just because I don't want to see him go.
Have you changed at all about Russell Wilson, your view on Russell Wilson, having watched him play one more game on Sunday? Probably his best game. I guess we keep saying that every week. His best game since the injury? Yes?
Yeah, it's got to be.
He even skedaddled. He even got out of the pocket and ran once.
I know.
On Sunday against
I thought he did that for the crowd, for his, here it is one last time, guys. And came up just a little bit short. But so what happens now? What happens with Russ? That starts now, right? Those questions. There's one more road game in Arizona, and then it's what happens with Russ. My gut is that it's done. My gut is that it's done, which is sad. It sucks. Guys like him, quarterbacks like him, they're so hard to find. And especially the way they did it too in the third round, and they paid Matt Flynn and the whole thing. And so it would be a shame if it doesn't finish out, but so rarely do these guys just finish their whole career in one place.
But don't you think it's as much, you first have to ask the question about Pete Carroll and John Schneider. Is it going to be both those guys back? Is it just going to be one of those guys back? Do you see 70-whatever-year-old Pete Carroll staying and okaying a deal that sends his franchise quarterback away for draft choices, and with an undetermined quarterback and everything up in the air in the upcoming year or two? I just can't see that Pete Carroll would sign off on that, unless now maybe number 12 of the Green Bay Packers comes, or somebody comes here that Pete Carroll can get excited about at quarterback. I don't see how he doesn't stand in the way of a trade like that.
I mean, if Russell demands that it be so, I mean,
not going to happen.
If Russell Wilson really wants out, if he really wants out, and we don't know that he necessarily does. We think that he does, but we don't know.
I don't know.
But if he does, let's say that he does, how emboldened in that stance is he going to be? How much is he going to go against his brand and his image to force that issue? That's what it comes down to, because he could dig his heels in. He's one of the few players in this league that can say,
not going to do it.
You trade me, I'm not showing up. And he can get what he wants.
I think he's already shown his hand. I think these little quotes after Sunday's game and during the week leading up to Sunday's game of, I hope I'm here. I hope I can be here. I want to be here. I think he's shown his hand. I think this is just a guess, but I think what Russell Wilson's going to do this offseason is say, hey, I'm happy to play here. I'm also happy to play on these 4 or 5 teams. You guys make the call. If it's here, I'd like to do a new contract. If it's here, I don't think he's going to play hardball to the extent where he says, trade me or I'm sitting out or something like that. I'm not playing here any longer. Because I don't think he would have made the comments that he's been making in the last week or 10 days, which is, I want to be here. And he wouldn't say that.
You don't think?
No.
Especially during the season?
No, I don't think he would do that, because he puts himself in position to... Is somebody running on a treadmill? What's happening?
Sounds like a meat tenderizing or something. I don't know what.
It's worse than your chair, for God's sake. I don't think he would put himself in a position. Just is my opinion. I think he's so calculated that if he were truly getting ready, if he were truly 8 days or 2 weeks away from saying to the Seattle Seahawks, I want out, I don't want to play here anymore, I want out, here are the teams, he would not have said what he said on Sunday after the game and on Thursday leading up to the game, the second to last game of the season, which is I want to be here, because it puts himself in a position where it comes back up and he's made to be a liar. And I don't think he wants that. I think he's too image conscious to want that.
I disagree. Not the fact that he's image conscious. I just disagree that one would necessarily play into the other. I think he would say whatever right now. That's who he is. He says the same thing every time. It's who he is. It's his brand. Not to mention the fact that he had 2 games left to play and, behind an offensive line that I guess could just stand aside if they really wanted to, or things like that as a quarterback. So okay. I think that the teammate Russell Wilson, that's not in him. And also, maybe he has thoughts about that, but I really do believe him because of his competitive nature, that even if he has thoughts about that, he hasn't maybe even gone down that far down the road in his thinking yet either, too. So, I mean, that could all change here in a week, in 2 weeks, whatever it is. Yeah, he gets with his team, and I mean, not the Seahawks, his own personal team, and his wife, and his media consultants, and everybody. I don't know who all plays into his decisions, but and decides what the next step is. And maybe at that time he's like, yeah, I need to get out. I need to get somewhere where I can be the 2, 3, 4 times Super Bowl champion that I want to be. And it's not Seattle. Maybe, or maybe not.
Or maybe it's a combination, as I say, a hybrid of both, which is, yeah, if given the opportunity to play for one of these 4 teams, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Or if not, if you guys can't recoup what you think I'm worth, I'm also all in to play for the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going to give you 5 teams. Here's 4 other teams and the Seattle Seahawks that I'm willing to play for. I think that's entirely possible.
Sure. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Right. So,
but then it takes away his leverage if he does it that way. If he really wants out, then that takes away his leverage.
Well, did he play his leverage last year?
No, but I think last year was a warning shot across the bow.
Seemed like he really wanted out last year.
I don't think so. I don't think he really wanted out last year. I think he was making noise. I think he was saying, hey, we need to be a winner. I've got a limited time to win these championships. You need to build around me and through me and involve me in this process.
Right.
Or I'm going to be gone. But I don't think his plan was to leave last offseason.
All right, before we finish up and we give you the games and the password for Beat the Boys, I was thinking about this as I watched the tail end of the 51-29 victory for your Seattle Seahawks over the Detroit Lions. I was thinking about this. Young players under club control that you're excited about as Seahawks fans.
I feel like we need game show music or something.
Young players under club control that you're excited about as a Seahawks fan.
Okay.
And
DK Metcalf, right?
I truly can come up with 4.
Okay.
That fit
DK
that
Metcalf,
bill.
We just talked about.
DK Metcalf would be one of them.
Okay. Jordan Brooks.
Jordan Brooks would definitely be one of them.
Darrell Taylor.
That was a great smack at the goal line by Darrell Taylor. Yes.
I like Darrell Taylor. Okay. I like Darrell Taylor.
Yeah.
No DBs.
I will say about Darrell Taylor, I'll be the one naysayer a little bit, although I include him on this list. Yeah. I will say that sometimes there's a long time between plays. Sometimes he goes a game, 2 games, 2.5 games between impact plays. I'm excited about him. He's young. He's under club contract, but I'd like to see him shrink the time in between quality plays.
Yeah,
in the upcoming
season.
Okay,
I think so. But it's essentially his rookie year, right?
Yeah, right, right.
I guess maybe Damian Lewis. Maybe.
I think so.
Okay.
I think Damian Lewis has done enough at the guard position to show he is a legitimate 8 to 10 year quality, if not Pro Bowl, then the next level down, close to Pro Bowl quality guard. So I think you've hit it. I think you've hit the nail right on the head. Those are the 4 guys. And you might say, what about Trey Brown? I would say not. I haven't seen enough yet to get excited about him. Maybe, maybe not. But
so you got a core 4.
You got DK Metcalf, Jordan Brooks, Damian Lewis, and Darrell Taylor as the 4 young Seahawks under club control that you can get excited about as Seahawks fans. And here's my point to bringing this up. There should be more than 4.
Yeah.
I just wonder if I ask the very same question in the other 31 cities to fan bases, whether your team made the playoffs or about to make the playoffs or stunk and are going to be high in the – if I said it to the Giants or the Jets, if I said it to the Patriots, if I said it to the Chiefs, my guess is just about all of the NFL teams would have more than 4 young players under club control. That there are 22 starters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then add in the rotational players on the defensive line, right? So let's say 22 becomes 26, right? And then add in an extra receiver, which is probably 27, and then add in an extra running back and an extra tight end. You probably get to 30 kind of core guys, right? Am I fair? If you take punters and kicker, I'm not putting Jason Myers on the list.
Michael Dixon.
You get to 30 guys, right? 22 starters and 8 rotational players.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the Seahawks need to have more than 4 young players out of 30 that we're excited about under club control.
You got to draft better. And this has been a mantra for years and years and years. You got to draft better, more consistent drafts. I don't know. Look, I don't know what you got to do to get Scott McLuhan in that draft room and evaluating things.
Yeah, you like that.
Well,
where is he? Is he out of football?
I think currently, last I remember of him, he was consulting.
Yeah.
I think he consulted with the Browns on one of their drafts. I remember they took Antonio Callaway. I thought he was maybe like a kind of a Tyreek Hill type. I think that would be somebody, if you can reconnect with him somehow, because look, he drafted that Niners team that we hated, and he drafted that Seahawks team that we love. Not drafted, but was responsible for a lot of the scouting and finding those guys.
Yeah.
So I think that he played a lot into that. And I know a lot of people say that too. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I would think he's got a track of success. So he's got a lot of personal stuff I know that he's dealt with too. And so maybe he's staying away from football because of that. I don't know if there's a possibility, but if you could somehow, get him back in the room, I think that would be a big help.
Because, and I bring this up because we're going to talk about this all off season, and you've already heard Pete Carroll been asked about it a lot, and everybody's got different. And the question is, are we in a rebuild here? Do we need to restart? Do we need to knock the house down and start all over again? What are we here? And I think there's a lot of ways to answer that question. One of the ways to answer the question is what I just did, which is, and maybe I should have asked the question first before I did it, which is, okay, tell me how many out of 30 rotational core players, offensive and defense, are young, up-and-coming, under club control players that you're excited about. And 4 is not enough.
No.
When you say the answer is 4, when you say the answer is Taylor, Lewis, Brooks, and Metcalf, and that's it, that tells me you've either got a very old, aging, on the way down football team, or you've got a football team that is got bunch of guys, bunch of key players that you can't afford to bring back that are leaving through free. I mean, you would put Rasheem Green on that list, would you not? But he's
he'll be gone.
He's a free agent. Yep. Well, Diggs is
you would
probably
put Quandre Diggs on that list. He's a free agent. He'll be gone.
He'll be gone. I mean, who else? Dwayne Brown, your left tackle, is an aging
right.
piece. I don't know.
Maybe you're excited about D'Eskridge. I'm kind of excited about D'Eskridge.
But you wouldn't put him on that list. I mean, I wouldn't put
him on that list.
He's done nothing to sit.
He'd be more of a Trey Brown kind of to me.
Right.
Yeah. You thought maybe DJ Reed, whatever.
Marquise Blair.
You thought maybe Ryan Neal, whatever. Although I did think it was interesting to see Ryan Neal actually kind of get home on a blitz.
He did.
From that safety spot. Okay.
Yeah.
Making a lot less than Jamal Adams. And he actually got home. So, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's just, it's a veteran. It's a veteran roster, an aging veteran roster. And usually, those are kind of on the last legs of championship, windows and things like that.
And those
which they found themselves in.
And those that are not veterans they're just ho-hum players.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go through the whole roster, and I can throw names at you that are under club control and aren't veterans.
Mm-hmm.
But you would just say,
DJ Dallas.
If I said DJ Dallas, if I said Ethan Posick, if I said this Haynes guy, if I said Brandon Shell, if I said Cody Barton, if I said, Freddie Swain, if I said Penny Hart, I could go on and on and on. Defense. Right. If I said LJ Collier, if I said, there's just a lot of guys that you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that are wet. Anyway, I don't want to belabor the point I already have. All right, here, that's it. We did our YouTube exclusive. Please subscribe. Okay. And we've got to do the Beat the Boys. Beat the Boys presented by Fireside Home Solutions. Last week.
Yes, I'm getting tweets. People wanting to know who I'm picking ahead so they can make their picks based on that.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
And then they want little hints. Like, if I pick these, could I? I said, well, the guy tweeted, I said, well, if you go 3-0, there's a chance you might pass me up. I don't know. So, all
right. Here are the games in Week 18 that we're using as our Beat the Boys games. In the final week of the competition to beat the Bulls.
Big week.
And I'm just going to say, don't jump to conclusions about any of these games. Be careful. Tread lightly, as I say. Game number 1 is the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. Tread lightly. I'll have you know that these two teams played in the first week and in the last week and never played in between.
Okay.
I'll have you know that before the Miami Dolphins went 1-7 to start the season, the first game of the year, they won in Foxborough, and now the last game of the year they host the New England. But just be careful. I'm just saying, be careful.
First NFL game, that game there? Does that? Okay. All right, for game 1. Okay, got it. Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Game number 2. The Chargers and the Raiders in an AFC West matchup of two teams that could both be going to the AFC playoffs.
Okay. I like that.
And game number 3, the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles in an NFC East Week 18 showdown.
Dallas Cowboys let me down this week on Beat the Boys against the Cardinals. I thought I was going to have a 3-0 week, so now I'm really pressing. Those are good games. Those are good games.
Those are the games.
What I need, though, I need a password.
Okay. Penny. Just for you.
Just for me. Good for number 19, old Penny Hart, right?
No, not that guy.
Oh, okay.
The other Penny.
Hardaway.
The man who you drive the bandwagon for.
Yes, I do.
Rashad
My
Penny.
guy, Rashad Penny. I'm the last one.
Penny. So those are the 3 games. Cowboys, Eagles, Chargers, Raiders, Patriots, Dolphins. Code word Penny. Beat the Boys, presented by Fireside Home Solutions.
Love it. Love it.
And that brings us to the end. Did you have a good New Year? New Year's?
Yeah, it was fine. It was nothing big. Nothing big. Sat on the couch, watch Miley Cyrus and Pete Davidson, which actually I was entertained.
I thought you were complaining that they were stolen from you.
They were. So I don't know what King was doing, but they didn't air it. And so they preempted with some like King 5 investigation. I had to watch it on the Peacock network. So I switched over to Peacock. NBC's streaming network, and I was able to watch it over there. So it was great. Rung in the New Year with Miley and Pete.
All right, Happy New Year! Thank you for doing this. I don't know what to call this. Okay, how about this? The special
shit.
The special Shootin' the Shit exclusive YouTube presentation.
Ooh, that makes it sound really special.
Is now in the books.